nothing is going to stop me. Grand Rising and welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome our congregants who are here in the center with us, as well as all who are joining us via our virtual communities. Today we begin our June series by examining the significance of holy boldness. And our topic today is sacred audacity. And so I begin by saying welcome to June, and I give you a little setup here for June. June is the essence of sunshine, the essence of romance, and the essence of promises. June radiates sunshine and a positive outlook. The sun always makes me feel better, and I think it enlivens all of us. June is the undisputed month of wedding ceremonies and gets its name from the Roman goddess Juno, the goddess of youth and protection. Both of those I relate to, being youthful and also being protected. Juno was the wife of Jupiter, who watches over marriages. So those of us who have been in a marriage relationship or in a committed relationship, where we have made a commitment to be with another individual, we have someone else that is watching over us and making it all work out. Juno's name means to rejuvenate and to aid, and overall Juno's abilities include energy, youthfulness, and creative power. And creative power is one of the underlying tenets of our theme for the month of July. For the month of June. I'm getting a month ahead of myself. For the month of June. June also includes celebrations such as Pride Month, Immigrant Heritage Recognition Month, Father's Day, Juneteenth, Flag Day, and other traditions that we will acknowledge at various points along the way. The philosophy and teachings of science of mind empower us with the freedom to choose our path. And in that choice, we choose to live large or we choose to live small. The choice is ours. Our experience is a mirror of our choices. And so June offers us 30 days of infinite possibilities to make any necessary adjustments and shape a different, more fulfilling outcome that we would desire in our lives. Ernest Holmes writes this in The Power of an Idea. We are thinking, choosing centers of awareness in this mind. And according to the total sum of our thoughts, we are either silently attracting good to us or we are repelling it from us. And so in living this life of holy boldness, keep in mind the essence of who we are. We are thinking, choosing centers of awareness in this mind, being the mind of divine intelligence, the mind of God, the mind of creativity. And according to the sum total of our thoughts, we're either silently attracting good to us or we are repelling it from us. Robert Frost wrote, "Freedom lies in being bold." And there's also an old adage or a warning to ministers especially. And there are three parts to this. And they all are do not. Do not talk about sex. Do not talk about money. And do not talk about politics from the pulpit. Now, this is changing. You know, time has a way of changing things and mellowing them out a little bit. But I firmly believe that there are times when taking a bold step and offering spiritual perspectives is both appropriate and crucial. And so let's just be real for a moment. If it were not for sex as we know it in this incarnation, we would not be experiencing nature or would we be experiencing or expressing in this physical form? That's the reality of life. Money is a medium of exchange required for living, and politics are a part of our lives. There's no escaping it. Sometimes we think of politics being in the arena of elected officials. Politics are everywhere in our lives, starting in our families, starting in our homes, how we negotiate and navigate with each other, how we include one another or choose to exclude one another. However it is that dynamic is going on, there's an element of politics involved in that. And of course, we cannot ignore the current political climate. It may seem overwhelming, filled with narratives, opinions, and yet one more thing in the arsenal of weapons of mass distraction, weapons of mass distraction. And the current one that's getting all of the headlines and all of the press is the conviction of former President Donald Trump. It is precisely in these challenging times that our spiritual perspectives offer us guidance and a path to follow. And I offer these two quotes perhaps as a way to de-weaponize the mass destructions that we are bombarded with and to remind us of our responsibility to this world. And the first quote is from L.R. Knost, author, feminist, and social justice activist. And L.R. writes, "A broken world waits for the light. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as the expression goes, but with intention." And remember last month for our May series, we talked a lot about intention and setting our intention to be good, to be great, and to move into that grander arena of life. And so LR adds, "So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is each one of us." And the second quote I offer this morning related to our current political landscape is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's really a challenge or a call out to the church, to our spiritual communities. And Dr. King wrote, "If the church does not recapture its prophetic zeal, it will become an irrelevant social club without moral or spiritual authority." And so we have the opportunity to step into this place of spiritual awareness and demonstrate within our own lives and demonstrate for those who are observers of us that we are a basis for spiritual and moral authority. Acknowledging the dismay of our brokenness and recapturing our prophetic zeal is the beginning of the healing and the wholeness process that we bring to the world. Our spiritual practices help us to understand and support our quest for spiritual growth. This week's talk, Sacred Audacity, sets the stage for us to practice boldness and courage in our lives. Turning again to our founder, Ernest Holmes, who wrote this in the Science of Mind textbook, "Change your thinking, change your life." And there's another often quoted parallel to what Ernest is saying that is found in the Bible. And this is from Paul's letter to the Romans, Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And I'm reading from the Aramaic translation of the Bible, and the Aramaic language is reported to be the language of the region where Jesus grew up. So the teachings and the words of Jesus, based on the Aramaic translation, are reported to be closest to the original as some of the other translations. And so Paul wrote this, "And do not imitate this world, but be transformed by the renovation of your minds, and you shall distinguish what is good, acceptable, and the perfect will of God." And I believe that Holmes and Paul both are offering us a setup for sacred audacity. They're reminding us that we have the choice in how to engage. We can either subdue our light, or we can live boldly and vibrantly. Spirit gives us permission, or what is also known as free will, to live creatively through our own unique ways in which is assigned just to us. We come here with an assignment that is just for us. And Spirit gives us the audacity to live that assignment by shining our light or hiding it under the bushel. I looked up the definition of audacity, and it means a willingness to take bold risk. And so my definition and my practice and my affirmation is I show up with my bold, egoless, authentic self and participate in the fullness of life. What you see is what you get, as the expression goes. Sacred audacity allows us to step out, to draw outside the lines, and to think beyond our fears with our imagination and courage. We develop the skills to intentionally and humbly tap into our own inner knowingness. We enjoy a bold grand rising into a new moment of transformation. And I want to underline right here that as we're talking about boldness and we're talking about audacity, we're not talking about it from an ego point of view. You know, there are some people that walk into a room and that energy just consumes everything that is in the room. And that energy can be negative or it can be positive. That's not the energy that we're talking about. We're talking about an energy that says, I am the place where love and peace exist. You are safe with me. We're talking about the audacity to stand in the truth and the knowingness of who we are as spiritual individuals. As I was preparing this talk, I was thinking about a practice that my spiritual grandmother, Mother Odessa Turner. Mother Turner was a church mother in her traditional Pentecostal church, in Church of God in Christ. And every year, Mother Turner would do a practice called Name It and Claim It. And what I did not know at that time, but have come to understand since I came into religious science and the teachings of science of mind, is that what she was actually practicing and teaching was visioning and imagination. Name it and claim it. And of course, I was in corporate world and I was trying to ascend the corporate ladder. And so when I engaged in the name it and claim it practice, it was always a goal that I had set related to something that I wanted to accomplish in that corporate arena. Just focusing on that. Just naming it and claiming it. I 99% of the time achieved that goal. Now fast forward to the practice and spiritual principles of science of mind. Again, we name it and we claim it. Through our practice of visioning and spiritual mind treatment and affirmations, we identify what it is that we choose to experience in life. We name it. And then we know that the Spirit within guides us and provides us with the tools to claim it and engage in the practice of it and enjoy the fullness of life. When we use our imagination to walk with greater confidence and certainty that our good is imminent, our faith grows, we overcome doubts, and we develop inner courage and tap into our spiritual connection. Inner courage is the motivation to overcome fears or inhibitions that prevent us from acting boldly. We release worrying about what will people think of me, or can I do this? We let go of the idea that something we want to do is outrageous because no one else is doing it or has done it. Sometimes we're told that an idea that we have is outrageous or it's unacceptable. In developing our holy boldness and our stepping into our spiritual audacity, we have the courage to say, by whose standards is what Spirit is revealing through me? By whose standards is that not acceptable? And why? We sometimes fall into the trap of accepting a limitation that society or our culture puts on us. It's time to let that go, to step into our boldness, to tap into our inner courage, and to lean into and determine the path that we're taking it is our assignment on our spiritual journey. And we're developing inner courage, holy boldness, and sacred audacity for living an authentic life. Sacred audacity allows us to tap into our spiritual connection. We begin to do things that we don't necessarily think that we can. It's like, wow. And I use a personal example of when I'm working out with my trainer. It's like, I didn't know that I could lift this particular weight or go through these particular motions for this long. Now, it did not occur overnight. It occurs with practice. And this is why we continually talk about practicing our spiritual principles. Practicing our spiritual principles. Napoleon Hill wrote, think and grow rich. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Two parts to this. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, belief being one of the key elements here, it can achieve it. And so we accomplish great things when we surrender, allowing our spiritual connection to lead us and guide us. We let go of any idea of control and surrender to the invisible presence that is within. Our imagination is ignited by sacred audacity. It allows us a spiritual connection and requires trust and faith to develop and cultivate. Imagine your spiritual tools guiding you. Follow their lead. And I came across this little piece of humor that I think still illustrates how we can use our imagination. A Sunday school teacher shared this. I needed some items from a cupboard that was seldom used and was secured by a lock. I didn't know the combination, but our minister, Lori, offered to give it a try. The minister's always the one that steps out. We're the leaders. We're stepping out and we're saying, okay, follow us, follow us. So, as the story goes, Reverend Lori placed her fingers on the lock's dial, raised her eyes heavenward, and stayed in that posture for a long moment. The Sunday school teacher says, I felt her connection to higher mind. Then with confidence, she spun the dial and opened the lock. Seeing how impressed I was with her openness to universal intelligence, she smiled and confided, the combination is written on the ceiling. Sometimes all we need to do is look up, and the answer is there. Knowing that we can trust this divine presence in ourselves is enough. It's enough to know that we are okay. And so be bold enough to imagine yourself successfully fulfilling your intentions. Name it and claim it. Engage your imagination by repeatedly using positive affirmations such as, I let go of any fears and focus on faith. Test the waters. Take baby steps before jumping full in. Stand in gratitude, knowing that you have been shown the way. Act as if it is already done. And so as we wrap this talk up for this morning, I invite us to remember that we live from sacred audacity and holy boldness by tapping into our spiritual connection, which allows us to be the conduits for which the divine expresses its greatness. We're the conduits for the divine to express its greatness through. And when we turn our attention from fear to faith, we know we can and we are doing the thing. Whatever the thing is, whatever it is that is calling us, whatever that audacious step that we're called to take, we know that we're doing the thing. And we know that God indeed is the wind beneath our wings. And in this sacred act, we're propelled forward into the divine expression with fortitude, courage, and resilience. Blessed are those who bend with the wind, for they will not be broken when the storms of life offer challenges. So, as we bodaciously step into our sacred authenticity, we know that life is always for us and it is never against us. I now invite us to say together our affirmation. I am bold, courageous, and brave. I am bold, courageous, and brave. Take that through the week. And just saying that is enough to propel us into that knowingness that God is always for us. I am bold, courageous, and brave. I invite us now to turn within and to know that in this place of boldness, in this place of being brave, I have the audacity to know this truth, that there is only life. That life is God. It is good. It is whole. It is perfect. It is complete. It is the life that I am living right here and right now. And this is true for me, as I audaciously claim this truth that God is all there is, and I'm living my life in this place of goodness, I claim it for each person that is hearing this prayer at whatever time, knowing that each one is an individualized expression of pure spirit. And each one has the boldness and the audacity to stand in the awareness of that truth. And so it is from this place again of knowing that I speak my word this morning, declaring that life is good and that life is what I contribute to it. It is what I bring to the table. It is what I offer. It is what I open myself to allow Spirit to express through me and as me. Knowing that the Spirit makes no mistakes, that I am always guided in the right direction, that I make right choices, that I allow my light to shine and illuminate the path for others to shine their individual lights, creating a brilliant glow that is available for everyone to join into. We're not looking for followers, we're looking for joiners, joining in the shining of the light of greatness. Knowing this to be the truth for myself, I declare it and affirm it as a truth for everyone. I speak my word for places where individuals are gathering in the name and nature of oneness and wholeness. Knowing that all paths lead back to this place that is called home. Taking us back to the spiritual nature and the true essence of who we are. Recognizing that we just stop along the way to live in this material expression. But the desire is always to return to the spiritual reality and the truth of who we are. And so we pause long enough on this material journey in this human incarnation to gain the knowledge, to gain the tools, to gain the awareness, to gain the understanding of what it means to live in the larger life. And I speak my word this morning, blessing those who are experiencing transitions in their lives, in their individual lives, in families, where things may not appear as we would like for them to be, and yet knowing that each individual is on their journey of awakening. And that journey may look like transitioning from this physical plane back into the invisible realm. That journey may look like a temporary illness where the body is declaring it is time to rest, be restored and refreshed and renewed. And so I'm knowing and declaring that there is a healing that is taking place. And that healing is realized in each individual. I speak my word this morning knowing that everything is unfolding in divine, right, and perfect order. And that it is the intention of the Spirit to give us what it is that we desire in this life. And so I am now naming and claiming the true essence of who I am as a spiritual being, knowing that everything that I require is provided. And again, as this is true for me, I affirm it and declare it as a truth for everyone, everywhere, at all times. And so it is from a place of deep, deep gratitude that I release this word into the law, which always says yes, knowing that it is done and it is done well. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, please affirm it with me as we say, and so it is. And so it. And now it is time for us to engage in the law of circulation known as our offering time. It's that time where we get to express the generosity that Spirit has given to us in material form and return a portion of it to the source of all that there is. We have an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And as we serve the congregants who are here in the center by passing the offering basket, I would also like to thank you. And I'm going to ask the tech team to leave the screen up for just a moment so that everyone has an opportunity to participate in ways to donate to the center. You may do so by mail, and our address is on the screen. You may text to give, and the text number is 831-246-9694. And you may also donate through our website, montereycsl.org. Thank you again for your gratitude and for your love. I am so blessed. Just a few things that I would like to share with our virtual community that is joining us. As I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, June is Pride Month, and our Monterey Center for Spiritual Living will be participating in the Monterey Peninsula Pride event, which is taking place on June 29th. That is the last Saturday in this month, and we will have a sign-up sheet for anyone who would like to participate in staffing our table that we have at the Pride celebration. We will have a sign-up sheet starting next week. And so for those of you who are viewing online and may live locally, we invite you to come out and join us and celebrate us as we have fun and celebrate this time together. Also, during the month of June, we will be celebrating Immigrant Heritage Month, Flag Day, Father's Day, Juneteenth, and some other activities. And so for our virtual community that has joined us, we say thank you. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. And we invite you to return next week as we continue our theme for the month, Holy Boldness. And our talk is Fired Up. I am fired up. I am alive with the Spirit. And so again, we invite you to like, comment, share, and spread the news that God is love, and love is all there is.